All right, this is the ACT warm-up number 7. Goal number 1. Marcus earned $230 for 40 hours of work. Philip earned $192 for 32 hours of work. Are these rates proportional? Divide. So you want to know how much money you make per hour, just do for Marcus, 230 divided by 40. And then for Philip, do 192 divided by 32. If you get the same thing, they're proportional. So it looks like Marcus earns $5.75 an hour, where Philip earns $6 an hour. Those are not proportional. So that's a big node. That's $5.75 an hour. And then this is going to be $6 per hour. So since these are not equal, say not proportional. All right, write that down, take a picture. I'm gonna clear that and do number 2. Question number 2. Student said the volume of a cylinder with a 3-inch diameter is 2 times the volume of a cylinder with the same height and a 1.5-inch radius. What is the error? First, let's talk about the volume of a cylinder. Volume of a cylinder formula is the area of the base, which is a circle. Circles are pi r squared multiplied by the height. So that is the volume formula. So let's talk about the volume of a circle with 3-inch diameter. Diameter is the distance across the circle. And then a radius is half of that. So a radius would just be like from the center to the edge. So a 3-inch diameter would have a radius of half of 3. So the radius is going to be 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5. So the volume of a cylinder is of a 3-inch diameter is 2 times the volume of a cylinder with the same height and a 1.5-inch radius. So we don't know what the height is. So let's say the height is, I don't know, 5 or 1. Let's just make the height 1. All right. So is that 2 times the volume of a cylinder with the same height and a 1.5-inch radius? So the other cylinder has a radius of 1.5 inches, same height. So we'll say the height's 1. So what's the error? Well, they both have the same radius and the same height, so they're going to both be equal. You don't have to plug it in to figure that out. They have the same radius and the same height. Multiply by pi, square the radius, you're going to get the same thing. The error is that one student didn't realize that the 3 represented the diameter, not the radius. So the diameter is twice the radius. So the error here being that the diameter wasn't divided. Okay, diameter wasn't cut in half. All right, get that down. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Okay, question 3. When you slice a cylindrical cylinder of cheese parallel to its base. So your base is here. Parallel would be if you were to go right through there. What shape will you see the cross-sectional view? So that cross-section is going to be the shape that's formed when you slice that. And if you slice it parallel, it's going to be a circle. Now it says, what shape will you see if you cut perpendicular? Perpendicular is straight up and down. So if I go like straight up and down through that, well, I don't see a circle, I see a different shape. I'll show you what that looks like. So if I go through that, what ends up happening is you get a rectangle. So a rectangle is going to be what you have if you go straight up and down. Circle for parallel, rectangle for perpendicular. All right, goal 4. What measure of central tendency is least likely to be affected by an outlier if an outlier is introduced into a data set? So measure and which one is most likely? So measures of central tendency would be like mean, median, those type of things, mode. We're going to focus on these two. So if you throw in, let me just give you an example. Using the numbers, let's say I have the numbers 2, 3. Let me write these down first. So let's say I have the numbers 2, 3, 3, and let's say 4. Okay. So let's recall what a mean and median is. A mean is when you add all the numbers up and divide by the number you have. So the mean would be 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 divided by 4, since there are 4 numbers. That's going to be, you can add those together and divide using technology if you want, but basically if you do 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, that's 12. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So your mean actually is going to be 3 in this case. And the median is going to be the middle number. And since there is an even amount of numbers, it's going to be what's in between 3 and 3. So your median is also going to be 3. Okay, so they're the same here. Median is middle number, assuming they're lined in order. So what is an outlier? An outlier is an extreme value at way, way different than the numbers that you see here. So let's say I throw in another number like 100. Well, let's say 100 and let's say 98. Okay, so my median in this case, even with that outlier there, it's still going to be the middle number. In this case, I have an odd amount of numbers, so the median is still going to be 3. So that really didn't get affected. But watch what happens to the mean. Now, if I throw in plus 98, that makes that sum 110. And if I take 110 and divide it by 5, since there are 5 numbers, my mean becomes 22, right? Well, that's a big difference. That's a big difference in 3 to 22. So the mean is the most affected measure of central tendency, and the median is the least affected because that really didn't change when you added one number at the end. So most affected would be the mean, and the least affected would be the median. Most affected is the mean, least affected is the median. All right, write that down. And our last question. What is the volume of a sphere with a 12-inch diameter? All right, diameter is 2 times the radius. So if I know that the diameter is 12, the radius is going to be 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Remember, a sphere is like a ball. A radius of a sphere goes from the center to one edge of that ball. So you have a formula right here, and this is provided for you. 4 divided by 3 times pi r squared. And so we're going to plug in 6, not squared, to the third power. That's a 3. So you can write this in one of two ways. You can write it in terms of pi and as a decimal. So in terms of pi, you would type in everything but the pi into your calculator. So 4/3, parentheses 6, raised to the third power. That's going to give you 288, and we just write the pi next to it. So that volume is going to be 288 pi, and then since the unit's in inches, you'd say inches cubed. So that's the way to do it without the decimal. If you want to do it with the decimal, you just throw the pi in. Pi. So you can get pi a couple ways. You can go down to here. You can click the pi button. Make sure you put it after your fraction. Or you can type pi. And then you do parentheses 6 raised to, so shift 6, 3. And you get 904.7786. So we can round that a little bit. So it's about, volume is approximately 904.78 inches cubed. So either one of those answers is acceptable, and you might see it listed as one or two ways. Remember, those aren't different numbers. Pi itself is approximately 3.14. So you're really taking 288 and multiplying it by that value. So 288 times 3.14 is, there's your 904 right there. And the more you go out, 15926, etc., you'll get that to be more precise. All right, that's your video. Thanks for watching.